Summer showcases have passed. A lot of smaller indie niche titles popped up in between the bigger announcements, and right on cue there were L's, spams, and Z's in the chat as the trailers rolled. Even some "whose are these games even made for" popped up afterwards. And I'm gonna be real, I've been guilty of that too. I've sat there thinking, wow, this is kind of a slow show, or dropped a C or D on Jeff Keighley's Twitter poll like I'm doing my civic duty, and moved on with my life. But this year something struck with me, probably because I've been thinking more about what it means to make art, a weird little video game, or even a good YouTube or a thumbnail. Or maybe Maximilian Dude's reaction to that Marvel talk on game reveal. To me, that game means nothing. Not a hater, it's just not my jam, no interesting fighting games. But I had realized something, and it wasn't just like a grand epiphany moment, but I think we've been missing the point a bit. So, who are these weird games made for? Well, I've got a couple of thoughts on that. Here's the thing. For the last few years, the trend in the industry has been forcing microtransactions into single-player games, pushing developers into live service slop that nobody wants. Not the devs, not us. I refuse to believe anyone wakes up in the morning excited about battle passes in their single-player, story-driven RPG. But that's not what most of developers want to make. Most of them, they want to pitch and make good games, weird games, honest games. The kind of stuff you can't pitch in a boardroom because it would just confuse the investors. But indie games, that's where people are still making the games that actually they want to make. Sometimes it's a small team, sometimes it's literally one person sitting in their room thinking, you know what would be cool? They have a weird idea, and if we're lucky and they're lucky, it lands in front of the people who want it and love it. And Balatro is a great example of that. Who would have thought a roguelite poker game would blow up like it did? Someone just went for it, weird idea, and it's a brilliant game. Or take The Herding. Yeah, Herding, the actual title. It's a puzzle game about guiding big weird creatures across the landscapes. And you know what, it might not be my thing, but someone out there is going to love that. Maybe this is how we eventually get Herding Valley Crossing Survivalheim 2. Now, obviously there's always this balancing act between what the devs want to make and what the players want to play. And that's just a part of the whole deal. And yeah, I've always leaned more towards letting devs make the weird stuff they are passionate about. Let them experiment, let them get strange with it. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that every game that gets made always knows exactly who's it for and what it is. Sometimes you can feel it and the game launches and you're like, what the hell is this? And it turns to be a complete opposite of art. So yeah, small devs experimenting and going wild with ideas that they want to make is something we need more of the industry. Even if like 100 people play it, it might be something special to them. And devs gain the experience by making the game. And that gets me to my second point. Not every game is going to explode. In fact, most won't. Pretty of cool little projects never get the spotlight. But that's okay. That's how the developers get the experience and get better at making those games. Making games also helps them build confidence, putting the game out and having people experience it, even if it's just a demo, while connecting to other devs, learning new things and meeting new peoples and building communities. Even my nephew had dabbled into game development and I have been urging him to continue to do that. Games like Neverway. It's a small indie game that mixes horror, live sim and action RPG to bring it all together in a very interesting and beautiful, haunting pixel art. Or Cairn Dev Team is working on an adventure climbing game, and this is from their website. They approach game design like cooking, a mix of ingredients to make something worth digesting. I have even recently played the mouth-washing game, which was short, haunting, beautiful horror game which I really enjoyed. And what's beautiful is that we're starting to see that learning pay off. We're at the beginning of something cool, sort of a gaming renaissance. Dev teams making games they actually want to make and not live service crap and junk filled with NFTs. And Expedition 33 is, I think, a great example of that. A smaller but experienced team finally get to build the thing they wanted to build, and it shows. It's an excellent game, and we want more of it. Okay, weird example incoming. Demon's Souls. When it launched, it was basically a weird little niche game nobody expected to go anywhere. Even Miyazaki himself said that he thought it might be a failure. But it grew, people found it, and now Souls-like is basically its own genre, with entire studios chasing that same vibe. Yeah, I know Demon's Souls is a FromSoft game, not some tiny indie dev. They have made a lot of games before. But I'm trying to make a point here. Sometimes it's the weird ideas that change everything. And who's to say that the next genre-defining hit isn't quietly tucked away in one of those awkward little summer showcase trailers sandwiched between two generic co-op shooters nobody remembers a week later? And I'm not saying that every random indie puzzle game blueprints is going to be the next From Software-like genre-defining masterpiece. But what I'm saying is that I don't know, you don't know, and nobody knows, and that's what makes it exciting. And honestly, I think we as gamers, as a community, should celebrate all kinds of creativity, innovation, and risks, and naturally call out bullshit and crappy art and unpolished launches and the layoffs and all other crap that is staining our beautiful industry. So yeah, next time we are watching a showcase and a weird little indie game pops up, maybe instead of spamming L, we can hit them with good luck. And who knows, that little nudge of support might be the things that keeps a small dev going, that leads to a next brilliant idea, or at very least helps create something new and interesting. And even if the game is not for you, it is for somebody out there. And honestly, isn't that kind of the best part about this hobby? It's not just about me or you, it's about all of us. These games are for all of us. And hey, if you played something small, weird, broken, brilliant, that deserves more love, drop it down in the comments. I want to hear about it. Let's keep gaming weird. And as always, thank you for watching.